Hey everyone, and thanks for joining another episode of Tabs where we are talking about business strategy. And today I have Steve with me, and we are going to all talk about account-based marketing. So Steve, you want to get started with a quick introduction?
Sure. My name is Steve Robinson. I'm the founder and CEO of Brilliant Metrics. I also teach a variety of courses at the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee School of Continuing Ed for professionals. And I'm excited to be here.
Cool, thanks for joining too. I also appreciate that you brought the Skeletor mug behind you too.
That was a gift from a good friend of mine from years ago who had a tendency to call me Skeletor for some reason. So,
Nice. So account-based marketing. I think a lot of people have heard of this term, but not a lot of people do it. I know my wife's company does it. They're a large software company and they work closely with sales and marketing. But I don't even fully know what it is. But you're the expert on it. So do you want to enlighten us on what account-based marketing is?
sure. So account-based marketing was it's a term that was coined years ago by a group called ITSMA, and they define it as treating each individual account as if it's its own market. Um, that's a little vague, and it's kind of hard to connect the dots between that and the real world. So the way I like to describe it is it's really, and a number of softwares have described it this way too. It's flipping the funnel. So in normal marketing, we go out and try to build awareness among a broad audience and try and get them to engage. And people self-select in based on the content and the offers that we put out there. Account-based marketing flips that around because instead of putting something out broadly to a broad audience, we're putting it out only to the people that the accounts that we have selected. So it puts that qualification step first. The other thing that account-based marketing is it's not really marketing. So it's really a combination of sales and marketing tactics working together. But account-based marketing just sounds awful. So we'll roll with account-based marketing.
Cool. That makes sense. I think that's the confusion too for a lot of people is it sales? Is it marketing? Because the teams work so closely together as part of that process and identifying prospects and marketing to them too. So I guess the obvious next answer or question would be, what are the benefits of implementing an account-based marketing strategy?
The key benefit, I think, is efficiency. If you're doing a more of a traditional or a standard digital lead generation or demand generation type of program, you're trying to boil the ocean to some extent. You're putting content out there, trying to get SEO to drive traffic in. You're broadly marketing your material, your content, your offers to audiences, and sometimes what you get coming in isn't necessarily the quality of account that your organization needs. They're not all going to be best fit. Well, that from a revenue standpoint might be great. You're getting more revenue in, but it's not going to translate into profit. It's not going to translate into long-term growth. Those accounts are more likely to churn. You're creating noise inside of the sales pipeline essentially. Because account-based marketing, you pick those accounts, you target those accounts, you personalize down to the account level in many cases. You're only going to get back out of that account-based marketing the accounts that you selected to put into it. And that can be really powerful. The other key benefit uh, is it aligns that sales and marketing team because it's two teams going to bat at the same time. So you can't have sales and marketing out of step because you're literally going into battle together.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess, how have you seen that play out before with your clients? Because there is some companies have a great synergy between their sales and their marketing teams, and they're always working together. They have shared goals, or at least shared outputs at the end of things, and they're kind of stepping lockstep in strategy. But some sales and marketing teams, butt heads, and they don't have the same strategy, or in some bad cases, their strategies bump up against each other. But in the case of account-based marketing, how does that work? Is it the sales that identifies accounts, and then they work with the marketing team on the activities? Or I guess, how do you see that implementation process usually work?
It has to be highly collaborative, and to your point about sales and marketing, sometimes in some organizations having a really great relationship, and in other organizations almost having an adversarial relationship where there's a lot of finger pointing between sales says to marketing, well, the leads you gave us were garbage, and marketing says to sales, well, you didn't follow up on them. And uh, in those types of organizations, ABM is not always the best fit because it's a lot of hatchets to bury. But in most organizations, you do have that collaborative effort. And I think you're right. It starts at the front of, sales has a target account list. That's the place to start when it comes to account-based marketing. Where you run into some challenges is prioritizing that target account list, especially amongst multiple reps. Sometimes everybody doesn't get the love that they want for their prospects included in that particular month or iteration of the program. But in general, it's pretty easy to go and pick out the accounts that are going to give you the highest opportunity. It also allows the marketing team to understand the rules and the selection criteria for those accounts for other marketing efforts or to continue to grow that account-based marketing program. And then from there, it's a collaboration on the tactics. So sales is going to do this at this point, and run this, we call them plays in account-based marketing language. At this point in the process, marketing is going to run this play at this point in the process. And, guess what? We've got a lunch and learn at this point in the process. That's both sales and marketing in order to make sure that that's successful. And so that collaboration has to carry through from account selection all the way through to close.
Cool. So a lot of communication, a lot of
Mhm.
collaboration, it sounds like, on the sales and marketing front. Do you see this as like is this a technology enabled program too? Like a lot of use of the CRM, or I guess where do you usually manage these
Ooh.
campaigns for account based marketing?
I love that question. If you start going out and reading about account-based marketing online and start downloading literature, the majority of the content out there is actually from software companies in the space. And so a lot of the content that you get out there is a tech first solution. But that's really backwards. Account-based marketing is a people-based process, right?
Right.
Whether you have people inside the accounts you're targeting or people that that are executing those plays. And so we have run simple implementations of a pilot ABM program off spreadsheets. Now, obviously, you're going to want to make sure that all those activities are in CRM as well. But a basic CRM system, a marketing automation platform that most people have, whether it's Pardot or um, HubSpot, and a couple of spreadsheets is really all you need. You don't have to go get one of those fancy softwares. And I generally advise against it until you've got an ABM program up and running and you want to take it to the next level.
Cool. No, it's interesting you say that too, because my wife does software
Hmm.
sales, and a big part of what she does is digital transformation because they're going to organizations and really kind of doing a core part of their technology stack. And she always talks about that too, that it's people driven change, not technology driven change. Because at the end of the day, it's the people that are actually using the software. They're going to be executing the strategy as part of the process too. And I've definitely seen my fair share of sales and marketing people that obsess over this feature and that feature of Salesforce or HubSpot or what have you,
Hmm.
but they're missing the basics of like just building a good list or having a good strategy to even, or a good play to even run with that list too. So that's interesting. Which it kind of leads me to my last question about account based marketing. That really is, who should be doing it? Because it sounds labor intensive just from my
Hmm.
novice ears. But I'd be curious to hear who you think would be an ideal business that should use account based marketing.
That's a great question. It's definitely not for everyone. And I think there's two major impediments that will put an organization in a position that they should not or should seriously question whether ABM is a right solution for them. One is organizationally. So we talked about sales and marketing. One of the biggest challenges that we've seen in implementing ABM programs for clients where it turned out to not be a good fit is when that organization is structured that in a way that the KPIs are distinctly separate for marketing and sales. If marketing's keeping score separately from sales and now you try to do a combined program, there's no way for that to work anymore. Marketing can't be, in a traditional marketing program, marketing is held accountable to the quantity and quality of leads that it's generating. There's no corollary in ABM. You're going into battle together, you win or lose together, and you share the glory. that culturally it cuts against the grain in some organizations. And if that's the case, I would look at doing some sort of a hybrid or a different solution instead of a true ABM program. But the other issue is there has to be enough revenue on the other side of each sale in order to make ABM work. When I speak on ABM, I'll talk about the three different types of ABM: strategic, ABM light, and programmatic. And each of those sort of has a different dollar range in which you can make an account-based marketing program work. For it to be true ABM, it's usually going to be one of those first two. And you're looking at a a seven-figure sale for an ABM light to really make sense. And you're looking at a minimum of um, uh, 5 figures for ABM light, a minimum of 6 to 7 figures for strategic ABM, where you're going after one or two accounts at a time and you're personalizing everything down to the account level. And so you have to have um, that level of return to justify the level of investment, both in resources, in creating content and running the program, but also the time commitment of those salespeople as they're pulled out of the field and they're not meeting with people, they're not dialing while they're working and collaborating on getting this program together.
Cool. That's helpful. That's kind of my personal experience too. I've seen that the people I know who've been doing ABM tend to be doing bigger sales, at least with a higher touch, like you're saying, pulling off people. And it's a very, labor intensive process if you're not
Right.
automating some parts of it or, duplicating efforts. It really is personalized for the account too. So I guess any final thoughts you want to share on account-based marketing for the audience?
I, it's great. I would say if you're considering ABM, start small. Start with a pilot program. If you're at that strategic level and these are deeper enterprise accounts, pick off one account and take a run at it, and pick that account based on who you have on your team on the sales side, who's going to be able to dedicate the time, and they're flexible and they're growth minded and they really want to take a run at this, right? Um, if you're a little bit smaller dollar amount, you're going to run something more programmatically. Pick off one segment and run a pilot there. Um, you're not necessarily looking for the success in the dollars in revenue that come out of that pilot, because you're going to learn a ton on that first one. You're looking at the transformation, the change in the team and in the organization, and are we able to work effectively this way? I can tell you without a doubt, ABM works when it's run correctly. There's no question there, and it's more efficient. But having that pilot program in to see if your organization can navigate the change and learn the lessons to navigate that change in a small way is going to be key to your success.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That's a great suggestion too. I mean, like a lot of things in life, just starting, right, is a big part of it.
Exactly.
Learning the iteration, but I think that's a good way of kind of framing it as a pilot program with, a rep that gets it, a marketing team that gets it, and kind of getting started with there too. So, well, great. Thanks for coming on today. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you sharing your knowledge with everybody. Where should people follow up with you and learn more about your business?
Feel free to reach out and connect on LinkedIn, and throw me any questions in a DM or in a comment out there. I'm active on the platform and always excited to address questions and help you learn more. And I post some fairly regular good content out there as well for anyone on the topic of ABM, as well as a variety of other digital marketing topics.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, James.